Just slides right in. God save the Queen. Yeah. Okay. And Empress of Mars. Hey, familiar name.
Maybe someone's been messing around with time, like in the Terminator. It's a movie. You haven't seen it?
I'm a very busy man.
You'd like it.
It's got killer robots.
Oh, I'll put it on the list.
He's got his own killer robots.
If there's fire, there's gotta be oxygen.
Wait,
Hold on.
Okay.
I'll go first.
What are you doing? Fire oxygen. It's physics, isn't it?
Oh, it's like the underground tunnels in The Thing.
Yes, the thing.
What?
It's a movie. You like that one too?
Yes, yep.
Guys.
Spoilers. In my opinion, the greatest monster film ever made. The Thing. Beautiful. Look at this. Love the maroon, the dark maroon of Mars. Oh. Did the TARDIS just get launched out of here? Ejected? Banished? Ooh. The hissing. Oh, it's that thing. I've seen one of them before. Right? In the submarine. Can't remember the name. Whoa. Whoa. Steampunk. I dig it. Beautiful, beautiful. Oh, to be on that set. It's a regret. It's a regret of mine. That I wasn't there, you know? Like I wasn't into Doctor Who at that time.
Don't move! I'll sort this beggar out.
Whoa.
No, you don't understand. This creature is no threat. He may look like a monster to you.
I wasn't talking to you.
Drew.
You alright, Friday?
Friday. I mean, this kind of puts him in close proximity to Missy. Speak of the devil.
Hello, Miss? I was wondering if I could ask for your help.
Miss Missy?
I need to get to Mars, only the TARDIS is acting up, and I was wondering if you could tell me how to fix the...
Of course I can.
Look at that. Immediately got her attention.
Oh, thank you.
It's probably easier if I just...
Oh,
She looks great. So does he. Great hairstyles, both of them.
Friday's the last of his kind.
Hold on.
Is he now?
Yeah, hold on there, brother.
Like the Vikings.
She kind of looks like one right now. A Valkyrie.
Yes, very much. I'm old and tired and spent.
Not that spent. Not that old.
Sweet Fanny had
That's a familiar
guess
face.
what old Friday promised.
Game of Thrones. He's a bit of a dickhead in Game of Thrones. I like it. I'm really, really digging the tone. Beautiful shot.
Looks like old Friday came good after all, eh?
Whoa. Pure gold?
It's beautiful.
Oh, it's a...
What is
Oh,
it, a tomb?
yeah.
Not just any tomb.
The Queen? God save the Queen.
This is the tomb of an ice queen. These sarcophagi were sometimes part of a complex hibernation system.
Oh, boy. Pretty. Really pretty. Reminds me of the Mummy. The Brendan Fraser Mummy. Blue gold. Oh. Oh, look at that. It is blue. He probably just triggered something. Whoa. And out she comes from her slumber. Oh. Striking.
We have slept for 5,000
Jeez.
5,000 years.
And what are the connotations of that?
I am in command here.
He keeps overstepping, doesn't he?
All right. And I ask mercy for these primitives.
Primitives.
Back up, man. You big goof.
And you, female. What do you say? We are both surrounded by noise.
A certain type of energy, of course.
I would value your opinion.
They're not lying to you. There's no need for anyone else to die today.
Colonel, retreat!
Yeah, Colonel froze. Ooh. The hive?
To go to war, so it's time you knew the truth. This is the mark of the rope that failed to hang him for desertion.
This is Nova Catchlove.
No, it ain't. Not now Neville Catchlove's in charge.
Neville Catchlove. Catchy name. Gotta give him that.
You seem to know all about these ice warriors. You seem to know a lot about most things.
Well, we're sort of police.
Speak for yourself.
Space police.
It's just such a fanciful notion. A woman in the police force.
Listen, I'm gonna make allowances for your Victorian attitudes because, well, you actually are.
Yeah, he's from a different time.
I thought I had it in me to command, Miss Boss, but when push came to shove, I flunked it. Cashlove's the only one who knew, and he's bled me dry.
Sleep no more, my warriors. Sleep no more. It is time.
Love a good old team up.
Queenie,
Queenie.
let's talk. Woman to woman. You valued my opinion before?
Perhaps. But this is war.
Why does it have to be war?
Your Majesty, she's right.
You have forged a new alliance.
Oh no. Friday might get executed.
Over our heads, millions of tons of snow and ice. One good blast from the Gargantua here. Your army will be on ice forever. In an eternal winter. Like Frozen. It's a movie.
He's seen that?
It's a simple choice, Araxa, the oldest in the book.
Araxa.
We must live together.
Or die.
Or die together.
Yeah. Catchlove.
You dare to touch me!
Of course, I will have to dynamite the lifts to stop you following, but, well, war is hell, what? All good things come to an end.
I think you'll find, Captain,
Yes.
that I'm in command here.
Ooh. Actually shot him.
Some time ago, I was hanged for cowardice.
Escape
The
punishment.
execution took longer than expected. I should be happy for you to complete the work they failed to do so long ago.
You will die with honor, with bravery, and in the service of those you swore to protect.
You don't know what that means. Thank you.
He's been quite punished, eh? This whole time.
Not today. In battle, soldier, to die in battle is the way of the warrior. Pledge your allegiance to me and my world.
Whoa, look at
and I
this.
will ensure you have the opportunity.
Quite the honor.
My life and my service.
God save the queen.
To the end.
A new chance, indeed.
My friend, to the death.
I mean, she's had quite the change of heart, but it's quite the display.
You knew that would happen.
Always been my problem, thinking like a warrior.
Ah. Okay, no Missy and Ardol? Or they might show up to help. Get them out of here. I mean, they do need to show up.
Big enough?
For the ship to see. I think so.
Will be forgotten.
Oh, not quite forgotten.
Yeah.
You've changed the mindset of a very stubborn Martian monarch.
I mean, it happened rather quickly, but...
And one day, even though the ice cap may obscure it, someone's going to notice that.
Oh. Ah. And it comes full circle. Missy, she's about to step out.
Yeah. Before you go getting all frowny,
Yeah, about that. Nardole. Ooh, I just got chills.
This is not what we agreed to. I'm gonna have to put you back in the vault. You know that.
Sure. Just fine. Are you alright?
Okay, so that's episode 9. Like I said, that really kind of felt like a good old Doctor Who episode. Like a one and done, self-contained. It's entertaining. It has a lot of the staples of Doctor Who present within. Bringing the past and the future together. The clash that happens because of it, or the clash that is allowed because of it. You've got some interesting single appearance characters. Listen, not the most memorable, but for again the span of this episode, really quite functional. You even have a semblance of a redemption arc, a proper redemption arc here, right? Yes, it's really quite, quick, as it needs to be quick, right, given the self-contained nature of it. But, the redemption arc for the Colonel, right? And again, beyond that, you see that it's building on the mythos, right? The Ice Warriors are brought back in, but this time it's more than just one. And back around the time I saw the Ice Warrior for the first time, it was brought to my attention that indeed these are like classic Doctor Who characters. So I'm sure, to see the Queen and to see a bunch of them in this capacity, in their element on Mars, I'm sure that must have been exciting for a lot of you. Old school Doctor Who fans, or long time Doctor Who fans rather. And of course, beyond that, you've got your despicable opportunist. Maybe it's a tad bit harsh to call him despicable, but I don't know, man. I think he is kind of despicable, isn't he? At the most basic level, he's extremely off-putting, isn't he? I'm speaking of the captain, who certainly gets his. These kind of people always get theirs. Maybe not always, but in shows, or in Doctor Who rather, a lot of times, or for the most part, they get theirs. But let's kind of focus on the ending there, because there's quite a bit of interesting setup there. Missy in the TARDIS and showing concern for the Doctor. Now again, it's Missy, so it could be any number of things, right? It could be an act. But you see, I don't know, Capaldi, or rather the Doctor, something seemed off about him there, right? To see Missy inside of the TARDIS, beyond just, being upset or angry, just to see another Time Lord perhaps inside of that TARDIS, I think it did a bit of a number on him, right? But, almost immediately you see Michelle Gomez takes over the scene once again, as always. There's some beautiful shots of her, actually. I love that shot of her peeking from behind that panel, the see-through panel. Beautiful shot. And again, her face is made for the camera. It is, just like Capaldi's face is made for the camera. But yeah, in terms of her showing concern, a lot of concern for the Doctor, asking him if he's all right. She's looking at him, looking at his chest, looking at his face. Is this a misdirect? Is this her just trying to be clever so she can stick around? Or is there something at play here? But yeah, going back to the beginning of the episode, I suppose, and the TARDIS and Nardole within the TARDIS getting, just transported back to the university. Yeah, it kind of took control. The TARDIS just decided, right? Is it as simple as that? Maybe the TARDIS felt like, okay, it has to take Nardole back there so he can get Missy? Or is it a case of Missy somehow... I don't know if that's even a possibility, but is Missy at play here, right? Is she able to somehow control the TARDIS? Or she made it so indeed Nardole does have to approach her for help, and you see she almost immediately latches on, yeah, I can help you, but it's better if I just show you, right? And Nardole, he has no other option but to let her out. So maybe, Missy's doing something here. I don't know if that's even a thing that's possible, though, for her to do something to the TARDIS, right? I don't know, man. I don't know. Maybe something could come to light in the next few episodes. But yeah, Missy is, it's Missy, right? So you always have to expect something, some kind of shenanigans at play, perhaps, even if it's in the background, right? In addition to her, wanting to change. But yeah, that essentially takes Nardole out of the picture for essentially most of the episode. Right. And, beyond that, you see that even the Doctor and Bill take a bit more of a passive role. And it's actually more so about the narrative that's taking place between the Empress of Mars, right, and the soldiers And then, of course, both Bill and Doctor kind of come in from time to time. They give their thoughts. Hell, you see the Empress of Mars actually seeks out Bill, given the people they are surrounded by, right? She wants to get a female's opinion on all of this. I believe the line of dialogue there is, they're surrounded by a lot of noisy males, right? So she kind of values Bill's opinion on the matter, right? But, of course, it's a critique of colonization, right? Imperialism, all of that. And it's certainly at play. And, this kind of goes back to that idea of bringing incompatible eras together. That's one of the staples of Doctor Who, right? The time travel aspect of it, the sci-fi aspect of it. You can do this. And again, I'm at series 10 now, so I've seen time and time again how compelling this idea can be, right? Bringing these incompatible eras together. Incompatible ideologies together, and then this idea of coming together, ultimately coming together. There's a really strong line of dialogue there, right? Either live together or die together. But I've got to say, even though Bill and the Doctor take more of like a backseat, more of a passive role, I just love that that the Bill's a film buff herself. So I love all of these film references. They made that clear back in her first episode, in her first appearance. She understands these ideas, these sci-fi ideas, right? And that's actually one of the critical moments at the end of episode 1 of series 10, right? As the Doctor is trying to erase her memory at that point, or at least of the incidents that took place throughout the day, her time with the Doctor, and again, time travel and the TARDIS and all of that. So I love that idea since the beginning. That Bill actually understands a lot of these ideas quite a bit, right? The sci-fi elements of it. But yeah, she name drops The Thing. Like I said, I believe it's the greatest monster flick ever made. She name drops Terminator, and a few others as well, I believe. And then, of course, a really unlikely reference through the Doctor, Frozen. I mean, it almost kind of reminded me of Michael Scott from The Office. But yeah, I've got to say, this type of episode, a one-and-done, self-contained story, it's always good. It's like a palate cleanser, isn't it? Especially after a three-parter. Unfortunately, at least in my opinion, a three-parter that wasn't, I don't know, maybe not the greatest. Though, I always maintain that Extremis is phenomenal. It really is. So this, it felt fresh, or it's refreshing rather, to see this type of episode now. But I'm getting there. I'm getting to the point, where it is going to be getting into the multi-part ending to the season, or the series rather, right? Maybe have 1 or 2 more episodes that could be self-contained. Then it has to get there, right? I believe there's 12 episodes, and I've got realistically speaking, I only really have 1 more standalone, because traditionally it's the final 2 episodes of a series that are like the multi-part ending, grand finale of a series. So yeah. Oh my God, I just, it really kind of hit me. I'm not too far off from saying goodbye to Capaldi and essentially Doctor Who, at least on YouTube, as content. Of course, I do want to reiterate that I'll be continuing it off screen. It's not as if I'm just giving up on Doctor Who as a whole. No. I do want to reiterate that. I do want to make that clear. I'm not giving up on the show, but I think it's a right time to sign off as far as content is concerned. I've been at it for a long time at this point. 8 years, close to 8 years at this point, I think. But yeah, in terms of the limited appearance characters, the one and done characters, I suppose, the supporting cast, the Colonel, this idea of his redemption arc, having a new chance at life, a second chance, this idea of trying to redeem himself, right? A new life and all of that. I think that actually became quite a touching part of this narrative, of this story. I can only speak for myself, but I took to that character, right? That's a great performance by this actor as well, who portrayed him. I think even the other guy, the captain, it's a decent performance, right? He's despicable because he's able to sell that. But yeah, going back to the Colonel, you see that he's really quite a punished fellow, isn't he, right? Trying to come to terms with his desertion. And ultimately, making amends and redeeming himself by the end of it, right? And again, quite a touching moment, at least in my opinion, as a human soldier pledges loyalty to the Ice Queen, right, to the Empress of Mars. So I think it's a really great moment, and the shot itself is really cool as well, right? Him on one knee and the Empress in front of him and everyone else in the background, and the doors close. Love that. And it's a perfect bookend moment. And I suppose another reason I really took to that character of the Colonel is because I love those types of characters, that archetype, you know, of the punished soldier, or not even a soldier, just a punished character. The types of characters whose past just haunts them. You know, all they can do is run away from it. And that, you know, from that point on, life has become this constant, you know, struggle of depression and just being crushed under insurmountable guilt. Right? I love those types of characters. And, you know, I usually call them punished. That's the term I'm using here for the Colonel as well. And again, you know, a lot of times, these types of characters, that character archetype is usually a part of a redemption arc, right? In all kinds of stories. I've seen it so many times at this point, but, you know, I simply cannot get enough of it. I just love that type of character. And see, that's one of the reasons I really latched onto John Hurt's Doctor as well. I mean, speak of punished. My goodness, that's as punished as it gets. So I really, you know, emotionally got attached to John Hurt's character, his portrayal of the Doctor, and his, you know, his story arc really quite quickly, right? Because he's only around for a couple of episodes, right? So yeah, and listen, you know, ultimately, even if the Empress has been on ice, essentially, if you will, for 5,000 years, right? Over 5,000 years, and you know, again. She's essentially a blast from the past at that point. You know, she's got a really distinct outlook on things. So, you know, she can be really quite aggressive at first. I think it's completely understandable. But, you know, at the end of the day, she's essentially defending her home, her homeland, home world, rather, you know, from hostile invaders. And she still ends up showing mercy by the end of it because of the behavior that's on display. She's able to accept it. She's able to change. And, you know, this idea of the warrior is, of course, explored given, you know, the nature of the Ice Warriors. But, of course, that applies to humans as well, right? You know, Vikings are brought up a couple of times in this episode, be it the film, be it, you know, Valkyrie, and this idea that to die in battle is the way of the warrior. You know, that's the highest honor possible. And that's the one she affords to the Colonel. I love that. I love that ending. You know, it's really quite satisfying. But, of course, you know, the Doctor understood this. And he lets it play out, even though, of course, Bill is asking him to step in. And, you know, he said as much, didn't he? That's always been my problem, you know, thinking like a warrior. So he understood the dynamics at play. He knew that she can respect the Colonel and the things that he's actually done now in her presence, right? That it is going to probably get that reaction out of her, that respect out of her. But yeah, like I said, it's a great palate cleanser, isn't it? You know, it's not the greatest episode, right? But it's not the worst episode either. It's just the perfect episode to have in the middle, right? Just a one and done, really fun, really entertaining. And, you know, again, the production is still fantastic. Sure, it's not going to be making any all-time lists or anything, but at the end of the day, I think it's just a really entertaining episode to just watch, right? I thought so, at least. But yeah, I think that should do it for this one, folks. If you enjoyed that, consider dropping a like, consider dropping some comments, give me your thoughts. If you are interested in early access or timer-based full length, consider checking out the Patreon page and potentially supporting the channel in the process as well. The links are in the description and the pinned comment. Also links to social media. Right then, thank you so much for joining me, folks, and thank you for your time, because time is precious. It really is. And I do hope to see you again soon for episode 10. Until then, take it easy.